Want to be a topper in MBA entrance exams? Join BYJU'S Exam Prep, CAT and MBA YouTube channel and watch serial 99 percentilers teaching you the tips and tricks.
Good noon, all of you. I hope I'm clearly visible and audible to everybody. Good afternoon, Tanvi. I'm good. I hope the same for you. Hi, Krishna. Good afternoon. Right. So, today we have a session which is a relatively general session in the sense that it is meant for both CAT as well as other MBA exams. And the specific feature about it is that it's a quiz, right? So I have 10 questions for you, okay? For some of these questions, I'm going to time you. So you have to answer within that specific time frame. Then we'll look at, okay, why a particular answer is the correct answer, right? We'll look at the explanations as we go. For some of the questions, I am not timing you. There I want you to focus on concept building, on accuracy, right? So it's a mixed bag today. Good afternoon, Prashant, Rishabh, Anuja. Hi, Abhilasha. Hello, Dharmi. Good noon, Prem. Right. So I hope we can begin now. All right then. So first question coming your way. There is a timer attached to it. Okay. There are 5 options. Now for this question, you have to answer within the specific time frame. It's a very easy question. So you should not face a problem. Let's see. Okay, so these are the instructions, right? So a part of the sentence is underlined. Beneath each sentence, 4 different ways of phrasing it or 5 different ways. In some of the questions, I've added a couple of options, right? Choose the best alternative among the 4 or 5. Right, so let's have a look. Start. A revision of sorts for you. You have done this. You know this concept. Hi, Sonali. Good noon. Let's see what you say. He dashed the state since 2000. The underlined part is ruling. 5 options given to you. Ample time I have given. I've given you 30 seconds, which are more than enough for this question. Right. So I've got a number of responses. I've got C, okay, A, all right. What apart from that? Just C and A? Okay. Let's see what the answer should be. So, since, remember since? So, when we talked about some questions on tenses, there we discussed that since and for. Whenever I have since and for followed by some time reference, so a time point or a time period, with for we use a time period. So, we can't say for 2000, we have to say for the last, let's say 22 years, right? So, since 2000 or for 22 years, 21 years, whatever, whenever we have this, either we use the perfect tense or we use the perfect continuous tense. Remember? Perfect tense, which is has or had plus the third form of the verb, or perfect continuous, which is has or had plus been plus verb plus ing. We call it, some people call it the second form of the verb, right? Verb plus ing. Have been doing, has been eating, whatever. So he is ruling. Simple continuous does not work here. Okay. Perfect continuous will work, but perfect continuous kya hai? Has plus been, had plus been. Is ruling is simple continuous. That is not going to work here, right? So that is why is ruling is eliminated. Then, because his ruling is eliminated, E cannot be the answer. So, has been ruling is our answer. Has plus been plus verb plus ing. This is our answer. Was ruling, again simple continuous, does not work. Ruled in 2000 would have been fine. He ruled the state in 2000. Yes, that would have been fine. Since 2000 cannot be the case. Whenever since or for comes, you have to use perfect or perfect continuous. Right? So C is your answer here. Very good. Most of you said C, as I expected from you. So this was just a revision of sorts of tenses. Why? Because tenses are very important when it comes to grammar. Open your past year papers, you'll find a lot of your grammar questions being based on tenses, right? And a lot of times students get confused in them. A lot of times they know the rule but not the usage. So that poses a problem in tenses, right? Chalo, let's go to the second question again. 30 seconds. Let's see what you say. All right, 30 seconds over. Let me see how many responses I have got. Okay, one from Sanil. Sonali says B, Tanvi B. All right. Sneha B, Sujit B. Okay, so most of you are saying B. Nobody says E, both A and B. Okay, one of you says A. Achha, but Anushka has deleted her response. ठीक है. Let's see. So when I cleared the security check, the gates, so I want to convey that this thing had already happened, right? So the had is missing here. That's the problem with this question. And which option puts that? B. So very good. Again, most of you are correct. This was to test your perfect tense ka concept. So perfect tense, perfect continuous tense, these are the tenses in which students face a problem, right? Because simple continuous, we use these tenses very often and they are not very complicated as well. So that is why I included this question on perfect tense so that we know that the past perfect tense is used when I want to talk about two actions that happened in the past. Two actions that happened in the past, but one of them started and got completed earlier or by the time the second one happened. Okay, one of them started or got completed earlier or by the time the second action happened. So there are two actions that are happening here: clearing the security check and the closing of the gates, right? But the gates had already closed when I cleared the security check. Okay, with the first tense, with the first action, sorry, we use had, okay, in the past perfect tense, because this is the perfected or the completed action. ये वाला action है जो perfect हो गया, complete हो गया. So the gates had already closed. Had been already closing. Why not this? Had been already closing. If I translate this into Hindi for you, you know what this would mean? जब मैंने सिक्योरिटी चेक क्लियर करा तो गेट्स क्लोज होते आ रहे थे. That would not make sense, right? Also, remember, with the perfect continuous tense, we also have to give the duration or the starting point. So, since or for make the perfect continuous tense complete, which is not present here, eliminated. B is the answer, even E cannot be the answer, right? D is simply a repetition, so no. Okay, had been already closing. Okay, this just repeats the gates. Sorry. The gates had been already closing. Yeah, C is an erroneous option because it just adds gates which should not have been done. Sorry, my bad. So B is the answer here. Okay? Okay. Now, continuous tense. Okay, when I was clearing the security check, उस पर कौन सा fit होता? When I was in the process of clearing the security check, I found out, I saw that the gates had already closed. Okay, so when I was clearing the security check, would that be correct? When I was clearing the security check, I noticed or I saw that the gates had already closed. तभी भी रहेगा तो had ही. The gates had already closed because this is a completed perfected action. Okay, you notice this while attempting a second action, right? Before this action, this had already happened, got finished, so it will still remain had only. Okay, no changes in the had. All right. Now, the third question, again easy, just 4 options this time. Yes. Let's see what's the answer. What if both the things were happening simultaneously? Okay, okay. I'll address that. Also, when I was in the process of clearing the security check would be a better sentence rather than when I was clearing. Okay. That is something that I wanted to clarify. Okay. All of you are saying B here as expected. However, B is not the correct answer. See, so you got confused here. So this time I combined tenses with subject verb agreement. In question 3, first and second were purely based on tenses. But here we combined two concepts, tenses and subject verb agreement in question 3. That's why I kept just 4 options, right? I understand why you said were. You thought that because there is offered here, because the past tense has been used here, I should say were instead of are. I should use the past tense. However, you had to recall the rule of subject verb agreement as well. Neither, remember, each, every, either, neither. They are always singular. Each, every, either, neither, always singular. Okay, so this options is not the subject here. No, this is just describing, this is just telling me what this neither is. Neither is the subject. And because it's a singular subject, I need a singular verb here. So neither of the subjects that he offered is or was satisfactory. Now you must be thinking, why is correct here? Right? Because I said offered. So how is correct here? See, is correct here because he offered them in the past. But currently also you feel that these options, neither of these options is actually satisfactory. That is why you can use is here. Right? Because what you are saying is currently also not satisfactory. Okay? So that is why is the answer here. Okay, is satisfactory should be the answer, not were satisfactory, not were being. Okay, and of course a correction is required, so it should be A. Very good, very good. Okay, okay. All right, all right. Both the things were happening simultaneously. Yes, now let's address that. If both the things were happening simultaneously, just a second. So then you would say, as I cleared the security check, okay, or when I was in the process of clearing the security check, the gates closed. So that means the two actions happened simultaneously. Okay, as I cleared the security check, the gates closed. This is also fine. And to be more specific, when I was in the process, of clearing the security check, the gates closed. So this clarifies it the most, that you were in the process, okay, and the gates closed during this time only. So let's say this is the duration of your clearing. During this time only, at some point the gates closed. Okay, so the two actions happened side by side. I hope that clarifies. Now one of you is asking that how is this possible that I am using had in case something is happening during something. See, because I'm saying already, that means वो completed action है, right? That means वो action साथ में नहीं हुआ है, वो action completed action है. When you say already, this has already happened. Okay, so what I want to convey when I'm using had already clause was कि अभी मैं कर रहा था ठीक है, जब मैं कर रहा था तब उस पॉइंट पर भी, इस ड्यूरेशन में भी वो एक्शन ऑलरेडी हो चुका था. दैट इज व्हाट यू मीन टू से व्हेन आई यूज्ड हैड ऑलरेडी क्लोज्ड. Okay, that even when this action was going on before this duration itself, that thing had already happened. If they happened during the time when you were doing this, then you will use this one, then you will use this construction. Okay, I hope this makes sense now. Clear to everybody? Sonali, Sanil, all right. The neither part. Okay, again I'm explaining this, Tanvi. See this. So here actually each, every, either, neither, they are pronouns. Students find it hard to believe that they are pronouns because they think kiski baat kar rahe hain. Pronouns refer to some noun. So what is neither referring to? Neither actually refers to the options. Okay, options is the noun here. Neither refers to each option one by one. Neither refers to each of these options one by one. That is why neither is a pronoun. Now we know that the subject of a sentence can either be a noun or a pronoun by its nature. Nothing else can be the subject, right? It has to be a noun or a pronoun. So the problem that happens in these questions is that students think that options hai subject, but options subject nahi hai. The subject is neither. You are looking at each of these options one by one and then saying neither fits. Okay, so the subject here is this pronoun and not this noun. This is simply a descriptor. This is simply an adjective phrase. ये तो बस describe कर रहा है कि neither क्या है, neither of the options, right? So neither is the subject, and because neither is a singular subject, when you say neither, you look at something one by one and reject both eventually. Neither that he offered is satisfactory. So in a way, this entire thing is just a description. आपका main sentence क्या है? Neither is satisfactory or was satisfactory, both of it. Okay. All right then. So I hope this is clear. Now we can proceed to our fourth question. Okay. Again 30 seconds. Okay. Let's see what you say. Again, this was, what was the concept involved here in question 4? Subject verb agreement again. Okay. So Vicky has given an answer. What about others? Rishabh D, Sanil B, okay. Prashant and Sujit D. Ash also D. Okay. So first of all, again, there are two concepts that have been combined here. One is subject verb agreement, of course, because of this as well as, and the other concept is that of preposition. Okay, so now see here, charged with, a person is always charged with a crime. Okay, so here this person was charged with contempt of court. Someone is charged with murder, with robbery. Okay, so with is the preposition that we need. But now the question comes, should it be were charged with or should it be was charged with? So see here, as well as per subject verb agreement, as well as is an additive phrase. Matlab that it is used to convey additional information. Okay, it's used to convey additional information. It does not carry the same force as and. Had it been and, then of course was cannot come. The lawyer and his client were charged. Then life would have been easy, right? But here I am not giving the client the same importance as the lawyer, right? For me, the lawyer is the main person, and I am just adding this as an additional piece of information, right? So for me, the main subject still remains the lawyer, and because the subject is singular, that's why the verb also needs to be singular. So was charged with and not were charged with. D is the answer. No correction required here. So please brush up your basics of subject verb agreement. Please brush up your basics of tenses, right? Very important topics both of these are. And here, as well as along with, including, together with, all of these are additive phrases. They just convey additional information. They do not make something the main thing about a sentence. Okay, this is not the subject, right? So the lawyer was charged. The lawyer was charged with contempt of court. I hope this is clear to everybody. So Vicky, it's not that they are a single entity. No, that's not the point here. They are not a single entity. It's just that the client is not so important. My main aim here is to tell you, the lawyer was charged with contempt of court. I have added the bit about client as well. For me, the client is not that important. His being charged is not that important for me as a speaker. Okay, that's the difference here. It's not that they're a single entity. They're clearly two different people, right? Okay. Hope this is clear to everybody. So tenses, subject verb agreement. See, these are very simple questions, okay? However, here also I see that some of us are getting a bit confused. Yes? Although quite a few of you did answer D in this as well. But I got a lot of B's also. So the important thing is that I need to practice questions based on grammar, and I need to be very clear with the rules, the subject verb agreement rules, tenses, etc. For prepositions, I think you become better with practice, because there are no set. I can't say that, okay, this is the logic that a preposition follows, right? A lot of times it's just a product of custom and convention. So for prepositions, please practice fill in the blanks based on prepositions. I have told this to you n number of times. They are there in Wren and Martin. ठीक है, बहुत सारे fill in the blanks है Wren and Martin में in its chapter of prepositions. So please practice from there. You do have this concept also there, charged with wala. Okay? All right then. Fifth question, 30 seconds. Okay, I'm so sorry. The timer stops moving if I change screens. There are two screens that I keep toggling in between. So one is the slideshow and one is the chat box, right? So the moment I come to the chat box, the timer in the slideshow stops moving. This is a peculiar, weird feature of PowerPoint. Don't know why it happens. C, okay. Then coming to, okay, so I've got a unanimous C this time. Okay. No one thinks A. No one thinks B. Okay. Very happy to see that all of you with one voice have said C. That is the answer. Almost everyone stayed at the beach. Okay. Most everyone is an informal way of saying almost. Please avoid it. Okay. This is informal English. You may encounter most everyone in some, let's say, texts, but that is highly informal. Why not mostly everyone? Yes, that's my question. Mostly everyone stayed at the beach. How is C better than B? Let's hear from you. How is C better than B? Okay. Let's take an example. Everyone mostly stayed at the beach. Is this correct? Everyone mostly stayed at the beach. Is this correct? Okay. I agree almost is more appropriate. I was asking you why. So, okay. Let's discuss this. Yes, this is correct. Everyone mostly stayed at the beach. Mostly is an adverb. It can describe it can describe verbs, adjectives, or other adverbs. Verbs, adjectives, or other adverbs. Right? However, if you see this, I need to describe everyone here. It's not a verb, it's not an adjective, it's not an adverb, it's rather a pronoun. So pronoun को कौन describe करता है? Adjectives. Adverbs cannot describe pronouns. Almost is an adjective also. It is used as an adverb also. So almost use कर सकते हैं यहाँ पे in the sense of an adjective. But I cannot use mostly here. Mostly is simply an adverb. It cannot describe pronouns. Okay. We mostly stayed at the beach. That means very rarely did we go somewhere else. We mostly stayed. So for a large part. Mostly means for a large part. Almost means nearly everyone but not quite everyone. Right? So that is the difference between almost and mostly in terms of meaning. This means for a large part. This means it refers usually to people. Almost it includes majority but not quite everyone. Right? So near everyone does not make sense. That's why eliminate. Okay, hope this makes sense. Sanil, almost also means a little less than the whole. It does not mean the whole. Okay. Mostly means for the, again, for the majority of the part, for the great part, but it's an adverb. So these were your first 5 questions and I timed you for these, that you can find out how many of these you got correct. Okay. The level of these questions, if you know the rules, is not difficult. Okay. These are not difficult questions at all. I could say that 4 out of 5 of these were easy questions. Okay. One of the questions you could say that, okay, this was moderate or this was difficult. So see how many of these you've got correct. See the reason why you've got these incorrect. If it's because of the concept, then you know what you have to do. If let's say you knew the concept, still you got it incorrect, that means it's probably a lack of practice, a lack of application, right? So zero in on the problem in grammar, because grammar is going to help you a lot when it comes to your non-CAT exams, and even for your CAT exam. See, if you are good at grammar, you automatically become better at parajumbles, right? Because there you take the help of grammar based clues, right? You automatically become much better readers, much more effective readers, because you don't get stuck at places because of grammar. You just sail through things, right? So these were the relatively easy questions. I hope you've been enjoying the session. If yes, please do press the like button, let us know, and do subscribe to our channel. Okay, now the instructions are going to change. So in each of the following questions, an underlined part of a sentence has been expressed in 4 different ways. Choose the option where the sentence has been expressed correctly in terms of grammar, punctuation, and syntax. Syntax, the way you arrange words in a sentence, right? So you have to look at all these 3 things. Now, usually, if the instructions talk about punctuation, then yes, you have to be careful about punctuation. Otherwise, most of your questions, when they do not mention this in the instructions, they don't test you on punctuation. Very rarely do questions test you on punctuation errors, right? So this is something that you should know, that you have to keep punctuation for the last. Look for other errors first, right? Also, when something is expressed in, if the same thing is expressed in 4 different ways, what have I told you? I have told you to read vertically. Yes, spot the differences, okay, eliminate and find out the answer. So here's a question for you. This part here has been underlined and written in 4 different ways. Tell me which way is correct. Yes, Sanil, absolutely correct. Charged with something, accused of something. Okay. Okay, I've got two responses, B, A, what else? A, okay. All right, quite a few of you saying A. Others. So is it a unanimous A? No, I've already got one B, so I can't say that it's a unanimous A. Okay, let's see. Homicide is the leading cause of maternal mortality in the country. Dash, then the part has been underlined. This is double frequency. Can you say homicide is frequency, or will you say homicide is frequent? Homicide is frequency or homicide is frequent? We're talking about a crime. Okay, we can't describe it by saying it is frequency. So these two options should have been eliminated right away. Okay, B and D should have been eliminated right away. Then A and C. More than twice as frequent, that means twice से भी ज़्यादा है. More than twice as frequent. Double से भी ज़्यादा है. Right? Whereas C says double frequent. So first of all, it changes the meaning. It changes the meaning. Okay. Also, if you are saying double, then you would say double any pregnancy related complication. Sorry, double any pregnancy related complication. Double the pregnancy related complications. In fact, that would be the best, right? So double frequent, no. You can say doubly frequent. Because frequent is an adjective here, no? Adjective को describe करना है तो दूसरा adjective नहीं ला सकते उसके लिए. Adjectives को describe करने के लिए we need adverbs. So doubly frequent, that would also be fine. First of all, it changes the meaning. Secondly, it uses an adjective instead of adverb, right? And it is simply and when we say any, here we should use a singular noun. I am not saying that any cannot be used with plural entities. Any can be used with plural entities. However, our intent here was to say that pick any pregnancy related complication. Pick कोई सा भी pick कर लो. So you'll pick one of them. The homicide, the crime of homicide is more than twice as frequent as any of them. Okay. So I hope this makes sense. A is the answer. Yes, no? Any question? See, I'm saying any question. Okay. All right. So our answer is A. The original structure was correct. No error there. So be aware of this also, that whenever there is a repetition, that does not mean that this repetition cannot be the answer. The original sentence can very well be correct. Okay. So good. A lot of you marked A here, right? Complications. So Vicky, you want to ask if that is correct or not? Tell me. So here the intent of the author was to use it in a singular sense. Okay. However, it is not that any is always used with a singular noun. No. Any can be used with a plural noun as well. So any questions? If let's say I am anticipating multiple questions, or there are a lot of you present in the audience, then I can say any questions also. Even that is correct. But uska original intent kya tha? To use it when something can be used in both the ways. Then you take the help of the original sentence. What is the intent of the author? To use it in a singular manner or a plural manner? Okay. All right. 7th. Supreme Court will decide on the guardianship of a 6-year-old who is in the center of a custody battle among his paternal and maternal grandparents. Okay. So we can clearly spot the differences here. Yes. Then this part. So spot the differences and then keep eliminating. Right. Custody battle, battle for custody. This is also different here, right? So I think the initial word, right, and the last words, they are a very fertile ground for errors, right? So I always pay attention to, okay, what is the difference when it comes to the first word and what is the difference when it comes to the last word? Okay, I've got a lot of B's here. Any other option? But if I look at paternal and maternal grandparents, so aren't these four people? Paternal grandparents, so paternal grandmom, paternal granddad, maternal grandmom, maternal granddad. So how am I using between here? That's my question to you. Don't you think among would be more appropriate? Tell me. I've got one D also. I mean, basically, all of us agree, all of you are saying that it should be between. Why? Why not among? What is the difference between among and amongst? Okay. So, first of all, who is at the center? Someone is at the center of something. At the center. Okay. So, here the center is a location at the center of a custody battle. Secondly, it should be who. Because if you answer this, if you look at this as a question, you will say he is. He is at the center. You will not say him is at the center. So, very easy way to find out whether we'll use who somewhere or whom somewhere is look at it, look at this bit as a question, look at this part as a question, and then answer it. Okay, if it says who, will you say he is in the center, he is at the center, or him is at the center? If you say him, then you will and you should use whom. If you say he, then who is correct. So here who is correct, eliminated. Whose center is a battle of custody does not make any sense. Okay, उसका उस बच्चे का center है battle for custody, no, does not make sense. Okay, now between and among and amongst, let's address this. Okay. So paternal are united on one side and maternal on the other. Correct, Vicky. Correct. Okay, between two teams. Correct. Very good. Between two parties. Absolutely. All of you are correct. Now, we are looking them as two sets. Yes, we are looking them as two sets. So paternal grandparents on one hand and maternal on the other, and therefore it should be between. Okay, now let's see. I'm just tweaking this question a bit. I'm just tweaking it a bit. Between his paternal grandparents, okay, maternal grandparents and godparents. Yes, you know the concept of godparents? So the parents of a child, this is a Western concept. They appoint someone as a godparent for the child. That okay, if God forbid they die someday, then the custody of the child or the care of the child will go to that godparent, right? So now I have introduced an additional party and godparent. So now what should it be? Between or among? That's the question. Between his paternal grandparents, maternal grandparents and godparents, or among his paternal grandparents, maternal grandparents and godparents. जल्दी जल्दी से बताओ, tell me. Vicky says among. Vicky says now we should use among because I have introduced a third party. Okay. Others. Sanil also says among. Sujit among. Okay, so this is a common misconception. Let's clarify this. Between and among. In our junior classes, we have been told that between is a preposition that is used when there are two parties involved, and among is used when there are more than two parties involved. Partially it is true, because when there are just two parties, no, you cannot use among. When there are just two parties, for instance, our former question, we just could not use among there. That was incorrect. Between had to be used, right? However, this is incomplete information. Between can also be used for more than two parties when they have been distinctly named. When they have been distinctly named. Okay. Among is used for more than two parties when they are not distinctly named. When they are not distinctly named. Okay. To give you an example, an agreement was signed. An agreement was signed between, I will say between here, and again you will notice this in the newspapers also, between India, China and Pakistan. Between India, China and Pakistan. I am distinctly naming the three countries. So it should be between, it cannot be among. Okay. Choose between option A, B, C and D. Have you ever seen the instruction choose among option A, B, C and D? Choose among the four options. You must have heard this. To choose among the four options. Because now I have not distinctly named the option. Choose among the four options. Okay. An agreement was signed among the three countries. When I'm not naming the three countries, then it has to be among. Not distinctly named. Here the three parties were distinctly named. जब मैंने गॉड पेरेंट्स बोला आई एम नेमिंग दैट पार्टी राइट गॉड पेरेंट इज द नेम ऑफ दैट पार्टी पैटर्नल ग्रैंड पेरेंट मैटर्नल ग्रैंड पेरेंट्स एंड गॉड पेरेंट्स थ्री डिस्टिंक्टली नेम्ड पार्टीज वो तब भी बिटवीन ही रहेगा इट विल स्टिल रिमेन बिटवीन ओके इट विल नॉट बी अमंग इवन इन दैट केस आई होप दिस इज क्लियर टू यू व्हेन there are more than two parties but they are distinctly named you have to use between. All right then. So I hope this is clear. Among and amongst are absolutely the same. Among and amongst absolutely the same. Amongst is just an old way of saying among. It's like amid and amidst. Both are same. Amid and amidst. Both are same. Both mean in the middle of. This is an old way of saying amid. That's it. Okay. So a question involving multiple concepts, prepositions, pronouns. Yes. Let's have a look at our next question. 8th. What is correct in or at? Anushka, at was correct there. At the center of. At the center of the battle. She found herself at the center of that controversy. Okay, so at the center. If you are looking at center as an area, let's say you are talking about Delhi, okay, and you're talking about central Delhi and you're calling that the center. You are treating it as an area but calling it at the center. Then you can say in the center also. But not in this scenario. In this scenario, you were not treating the center as an area as such. 3D, three-dimensional thing nahi tha. Okay. Okay. All right. Let's attempt this. Then I'll address more of your queries. Don't worry. Attempt this. I've got just 3 responses. What about others? All right. Okay, B, A, that's it. How many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 responses, that's it. Come on. I thought I've created some interesting questions with interesting concepts. A, B, all right. So let's have a look. So this is actually a modifier question. Okay, So here you had to look what are modifiers, basically modifying phrases that describe a sentence, that describe a word. So adjectives, adverbs, these are modifiers. So यहाँ पर ये जो phrase है, this phrase, this is important. To increase the accessibility of commonly used medicines. So someone is taking these steps, someone is doing this, someone wants to increase the accessibility. Now immediately after this phrase, the word that I am using is the sale. Does the sale want to increase the accessibility of commonly used medicines, or is it the government, the center? It's the government, the center, right? So the sale cannot be the subject that I place immediately after this phrase, because what should come immediately after this phrase is something that this phrase is describing. ये phrase किस चीज को describe कर रहा है, वो चीज आनी चाहिए ना यहाँ पर, isn't it? So this phrase describes a party that wants to increase the accessibility of commonly used medicine. So this or this. Now see, even C can be very easily rejected. I want to name that party. This party wants to increase the accessibility. Does the party's decision want to increase the accessibility? No, not at all. The subject should be the center only. The subject should be the government. The government is set to allow the sale of 16 such medicines as over-the-counter products. I hope this makes sense to you. Modifiers. The phrase in the beginning was describing something, and I should place that very thing in the next few words. Okay, the center. Yes, any query, ask me. It's okay. B is the answer here, not A. This is a phrase that describes something. It is not describing the sale. It is describing a party that wants to increase the accessibility of commonly used medicine. Okay, and that's why that party's name should come here. Decision is not the subject. It cannot be the subject. That party itself has to be the subject. Okay? Okay. Hope this is clear. Now, a very interesting question was asked earlier. The difference between and in between. Yes? So, what is the difference between and in between? Let's see. Okay, between is a preposition, right? We just saw its usage also. In between is an adverb. In between is an adverb. It is not a preposition. Okay. If I say, I was standing in the queue, she came in between. ये तो बीच में आ गई. Yes, she came in between. It's a very common sentence that I hear people using, and it's correct also. But see, what are you doing there? You are describing where did she come. You're describing the verb. Yes, where? कहाँ आ गई वो? बीच में आ गई. So when we describe the verb further, which are the words that we use to describe verbs? We use adverbs. Adverbs describe verbs. So in between is an adverb. It indicates okay, she separated me from the rest of the queue. So basically separating. Or it can also be used for time. So we worked so hard with no rests in between. We did not get any rests in between. Any rests or rest, depending on how you want to use it, in between. Okay, so this means this is used for when. Okay, we did not get. When did you not get? In between. बीच में rest नहीं मिला. I hope this is clear. In between is used as an adverb of time or of place, whereas between is a preposition. ठीक है. All right, then coming to the 9th question. So 2 more questions to go. 9th question, fastest fingers first. Yes, the whole sentence has been underlined. Yes. Let's see. Spot the differences. reading the underlined part, in fact, reading the whole of the question carefully is very important in these questions, okay? In sentence correction particularly. From road level, it was not easy for the visitor to distinguish this area to other areas in central Mumbai. The moment you read it, you identify one or two glaring errors. Yes? You distinguish one thing from the other thing, not to the other thing. So you realize that 2 is incorrect. Eliminated, right? But that helps us in eliminating just one option, because in all the other options we still have from. Yes? Now, if you see, the difference here is at road level, at the roads level, with the roads level. Yes? So you tell me which is the best out of these three. We say this, no, at sea level, so here at road level is fine, at should be used here. At the roads level, why unnecessarily expand it? Also, we are not talking about this specific road only. We are saying in a general sense. When we say at sea level, we are not talking about a particular sea there. Okay, we are defining a level there. So here also same thing. B is the answer. Very good. Most of you said B. I got a couple of C's and yes, just C. Yes. So C is at the roads level. It would not be easy for visitors to distinguish this area from other areas in central Mumbai. Would not be easy or was not easy. Would not gives a future scenario कि इतना आसान नहीं होगा. Whereas I am trying to say इतना आसान नहीं था. Right? Past tense, future tense. It's a future conjecture that you're making. Okay. So anyway, the meaning of the sentence changes. B is the answer. So grammar can be very nuanced, right? Here I am going into this depth with you when explaining questions. When you solve this in the exam hall, you need not go in such depth. Okay. You need not, let's say, mull over each and everything. You just have to eliminate. You should know how to eliminate. Achha, from aana chahiye, eliminate it. Okay. At the roads level, no, does not make sense. At road level. That's it. Your question is solved. You don't even need to worry about this. Right? So you have to maximize your score in the shortest period of time possible. Okay, today we are discussing concepts. Between in CD. Distinguish. Yes, between is also there. Correct. Absolutely. Very well spotted. So between was the extra element present there. Distinguish A from B. Between is not required there. Between A and B. So distinguish between A and B and distinguish A from B. Both are correct, but you can't say distinguish between A from B. No, that is incorrect. Okay, let me just. Chalo, question 10, last question for the day. I want everyone to answer. Okay, no negative marking here in this classroom. This book, first, again, the first sentence, the first word of the sentence, sorry, the first word of the underlined part, that itself helps me in my elimination. Yes. Spot the differences and eliminate. Okay. Quite a few errors in these options. B, C, D, all right. Others. A. Okay, I've got all the options. A, B, C, D. B, okay. So B is emerging as the winner. How about others? Okay, so the next difference, for everyone, to everyone, from everyone. Here again 2. Okay. All those, anyone, everyone, anyone. So many differences. See, the more the differences, the easier the question. Okay, because it becomes easy to eliminate. Wants, seriously, or seriously want, wants, want, and seriously then comes later on. Okay, then again wants here, seriously comes with come, in. Okay, we come to grips with something, not from something, not in something. B and D eliminated right away. So बहुत सारे errors थे. A lot of differences were present here. Okay, so first of all, was should not be used. I am making a general statement here. Okay, so this book is indispensable for anyone who wants seriously to come to grips with. A is our answer here, not B. Okay, now let's see why. Why A? Why not B? Because a lot of you have marked B. I agree is dispensable is fine. 2 is also correct. So 4 and 2, both the prepositions are correct here. But when I use everyone, everyone is always singular. Everyone, anyone, someone, no one. All of these are always singular. So I can't use want here because who use हुआ everyone के लिए? Yes. So who seriously wants, not want. So at this stage itself it becomes incorrect. Similarly, anyone wants, not wants. All those, when the moment you say those, it has to be want, not wants. So quite a few errors. We come to grips with something, not from something. Eliminated. So A is our answer. Okay. Absolutely correct, Sonali. Okay. Acha. Now I understand why quite a few of you didn't mark A. I understand that also because you must have felt that this is erroneous. Who wants seriously to come to grips with? You must have felt that the position of seriously is wrong here. That's why you probably didn't mark A. But actually it is correct. Who wants seriously to come to grips with? This is also correct. And in case the author had written who wants to seriously come to grips with, or who seriously wants to come to grips, who wants to seriously come to grips with. Okay, who seriously wants to come to grips with. All of these are correct. ये सारा constructions are fine. Okay. Here it's just a matter of placement, but because it has been placed near wants, it is fine. The meaning of both the sentences is same. Okay, I seriously want this. I want this seriously. Both are correct. Okay, now I seriously want this. I want this seriously. Both are fine. This is also correct. Although the intention here changes. Here he wants to seriously understand something, to sincerely understand. So basically the adverb is placed before come here. Here he wants this seriously. Here he wants this seriously. So you understand, यहाँ पर want को describe कर रहा है इन दोनों sentences में, यहाँ पर come को describe कर रहा है, understand को describe कर रहा है, to come to grips with. आया समझ? Yes? A deep concept involved in A. Yes? B is not because okay, all right. So Sonali is saying the usage of being. What particularly in that do you want to understand? So be is a verb, yes, and is, am, are, was, were, and being. They are all forms of be. They are all forms of be. Okay. So being is the continuous form. Being is the continuous form. You can use it in the present continuous. You can use it in the past continuous. Yes. Will be being is not used. Okay, will being is not used. So you can use this in these two tenses. For instance, she is being mean to me. Okay. So currently, let's say she's saying something that's rude, that's mean. She's being mean unnecessarily. She was being mean at the party. Or she was mean at the party will also do. It depends on your intention. She was being mean. If you want to indicate it as a continuous activity. So this is how it is used. This is how being is used. All right. And if you want to understand in the passive voice, it's used quite often. Uh, these laptops are being used for the project. These laptops are being used for the project. So passive sentence, somebody is using them. So these laptops are being used. Those laptops were being used. Those laptops were being used. Or these laptops were being used. So whatever. Basically, I'm just changing it to past tense. Okay, so these laptops are being used. These laptops were being used in the passive voice. So you use being in the present continuous or in the past continuous depending on when the action happened. Clear to everybody? Sonali, is this clear? All right then. So this is it for today. I hope you learned a number of grammar concepts and also how to apply them to questions through this grammar capsule. That was the aim. And as I said, it will help you for all your CAT and all your non-CAT exams also, plus for CAT as well. Right? So do like the session, and yes, we are soon going to meet these toppers, Pratmesh, Ashish, Vishwanath, right? All made it to some top-notch IIMs, and if you want to know more, you can actually call up our counselors. This is the batch that we are offering currently. It's a comprehensive program for CAT as well as non-CAT exams. A lot of live sessions, recorded sessions, a lot of preparation for GDPI as well, a lot of material, right? So everything in excess. Okay. So Sanil, few is a negative word. A few is positive. A few is positive. So if I say I have a few chocolates, that means okay, बहुत सारी तो नहीं है but मेरा काम चल जाएगा. Okay, I don't have a lot, but they are sufficient for my purpose. Not a lot, but sufficient. But when I say I have few chocolates, that means first of all they are not a lot, and secondly they are not sufficient. I want more chocolates. Give me more chocolates. Okay, that's the difference between few and a few. Welcome, welcome all of you. Thank you. I'll see you again. Yes. So we'll meet at, every day at 12 p.m. You have a session for VARC. Yes. So see you tomorrow at 12 p.m. Bye. You too have a good day.